On October the 31st, 2022, I had the great privilege of being one of the fairies dressed as snails in the Beltane Fire Society traditional Celtic celebration of Samhain. Unfortunately for you, this isn't that video. It's not even one of the videos made by the other performance group I was in for that festival, Tales from the Hearth, which, as you can see here, have some sort of production values, although were let down in this instance by a poet who couldn't read his own poem without looking at his phone. Instead, what you're about to witness is the cat-candid filming of a small collection of poems that I wrote to give as a present to other members of the Fairy Potter's Snail Performance Group, Samhain 2022. I hope you enjoy them. The Spiraled Dance. Every year the great wheel spins, from Samhain to Samhain again. An old year ends, a new begins. The seasons fight, and winter wins, till the return of summer's reign. But no new year's quite like the last. Time loops, yet draws a line as well, and each returns not to the past, but to the same stage now surpassed, a helix, like a spiraled shell. In a royal vein. The blood that snails bear shows the hue of noble blood in fairy tales, that if you prick them, both bleed blue, is true of kings and queens and snails. The difference from our own begins back with the stuff on which blood's based, coppery hemocyanin, not the rust that reds our race. More, when the Samhain skies turn dark and winter's chills come to the breeze, the sleep of hibernation starts, and snail blood turns to antifreeze. Aestivation, or Persephone Down Under. So droughts don't mean desiccation, the summer sun makes snails vacation, or siesta. Hibernation has its twin in aestivation. Sleep split when storms of summer rain rouse waiting snails awake again. Invagination, or face in. When a risky situation makes a snail sprint to its shell, it folds its face inside itself. This is called invagination. Smudging. A snail's skin has a tragic fault. Its flesh will melt inside its shell on contact with NaCl. It can be battery assault. The tooth and nothing but. Though snails seem soft about the maw, in fact they're fanged like Dracula. The tiny teeth with which they gnaw all form a file above their jaw, which grasping rasps food like a saw. A file we call the radula. Snails and Scousers. When deciding what to do, the total snail brain cell count, 2, proves to be worth more than 1. No snail has ever read the sun. The perfect mix. Perfect is the term for plants who bear both forms of private parts, which paired share a single bloom to play at once both bride and groom, set free from this false binary by their full flowery finery. When Templars sought to symbolize the perfect being, they described a goat-faced god called Baphomet, where breaking down and merging met, as joined yet separate as horns, both male and female in its form. The same is true of simple snails, whose female parts, and male as well, combine to make the thought of either meaningless, each both and neither, both feminine and masculine, cannot be rigidly defined. Onslime Dating. A Tinder app's no use for snails. They find their dates by taste and smell. Each would-be mate will leave a trail, to swipe both left and right, to find the snail who trailed such sexy slime. A common human female fix we find today's when pics of dicks come pouring in. With snails, the prick's quite unsolicited advance is so it's picked to play the man. Do you come here often? The courtship of the common snail calls for Casanova's powers. Once it has tracked the slimy trail, the would-be wooer, without fail, will kiss the wooed from tip to tail, exploring every inch for hours. Only then will each be ready to go from first to second base, when each knows they want to bed the snail with which they're going steady. An open pore behind their head sees genitals pop into place. Bullseye, or Cupid's silly putty. Among our kind, our passions start when blinded Cupid fires a dart that finds its mark within the heart, which, love-locked, overrules the head. Snails fire their own darts instead. These spears, which pierce their slimy hides, are made and stored in sacks inside, and fired into the would-be bride, chemically convince, we've learned, the snail to keep, not kill, the sperm. He slimed me! Some studies show your wounds will heal should you just let snail slime congeal around your cut, though I am sure I've heard it's good for skin before. Chrysomalum, squamiferum, safe inside their iron shells, tessellate with armoured scales, like some half-formed night of hell, sea vent spawn, volcano snails, of all animals alone, from their birth forge iron bones. Forged both from and for those vents, hellish heat the snails call home, where the water's waits intense, where the iron sulphides from to make plate to smith themselves, suited to a home in hell. A round and round number. Its maths are memes. Its memes are viral. Fibonacci's famous spiral flaunts compact curves across the world, so it seems inescapable, prone to turn up any place, especially in cyberspace, as templates tentatively traced. A logarithmic spiral grows with phi, the golden ratio, that is, phi wider in the wake of every quarter turn it takes, the phyllotaxis forming trees and arms on spiral galaxies. This pattern planned shapes such as these. Epiphragmatic Wit. Come dry or cold, an epiphram, an unopening mucus door, forms against the air to dam the snail shell's central aperture. In garden snails, at least, it's grown. Other snails can differ. Some install a trapdoor made of bone. We term the snails operculum.